Dear Lord, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for the opportunity we have to be here. Thank you for this conference. I pray that you would just use this time that we have together to bring glory and honor to you. Help Jody and I to be an encouragement to these ladies that are here. We love you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So this morning, I know we have about 25 minutes, so we'll try to get through this quickly in case any of y'all have questions. But this morning, we're just going to quickly go over our preschool ministry. First, some things that have helped us, and then we'll go into a little bit of what we do here at the preschool. A lot of you girls have worked down there at some point or another. I would say just some things that have helped us. I have just a quick list here. I would say first and foremost, and it might seem the most obvious, but it really is the most important part of all of this. Whether you're starting a preschool when you graduate, when you're at a church somewhere, if you're helping to start a preschool or you're jumping right into the middle of it, I would just say first and foremost, just pray about everything, every part of it. Pray about your teachers, pray about your curriculum, pray about your any special emphasis weeks that you want to do. Any problems, pray for your families. Pray about every single part of it. That would be the first, honestly, for us. I think that's helped me more than anything, just learning that really the Lord will take care of everything if I'll give it to him. I'm very easily the kind of person who will work myself to death thinking that that's the way to get it done. And you need to do that. I mean, and Jody can work like a crazy woman too. But really, if you will pray about everything and just learn to give it to the Lord, he can really take care of things and just help you in ways that you couldn't imagine. Secondly, I would say you really need, when you're running any kind of ministry, anything, I would say you need to plan and prepare and prepare and prepare and prepare and prepare. And really, on a Sunday morning, when we get to church on a Sunday morning, 90% of the work has already been done, and it should have already been done. When you don't want to start on a Sunday morning with 6 workers that you still need to find that you knew about for the last week. You can't do that because, I mean, obviously it just really lends itself to chaos. We really want our nursery to be decent, to be run decently and in order, and that really does take a lot of preparation and a lot of planning. And I can't emphasize that part enough. Just really plan and plan and plan and overplan. And you can't plan for everything, but you can plan for a lot of things. I would say third, when you are trying to get a preschool ministry going, or you're trying to keep it going, or whatever stage you're in, I would say you just need to delegate. Look for help. There are lots of things that people will help you with, and you need to let them do that so that you can be free to do the things that only you can do. You can get so bogged down in the little things that need to be done. There's always windows that need to be cleaned. There's always toys that need to be sanitized. There's always lots of little things, paperwork, organization, lots of little things that you can get really bogged down in when there are lots of people who would be very willing to help you with that if you would ask them. And that really goes the same way for workers. You really just have to be asking all the time. When you're in a ministry, especially really no matter what size it is, you're going to always be constantly asking for help. And that's okay, because it's a great place to be. It's a great ministry to be in, and people will have a great time in it if once they get in there. Fourthly, I would say you should be proactive about possible issues. There are lots of things that can crop up, and we should always be looking for those and trying to prevent that as much as possible. And the Bible says in Matthew that we should be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. That's hard. That's hard for me to wrap my mind around, how you can be both of those. But really that is huge as far as helping our preschool to run smoothly, is just trying to be proactive, trying to see areas where there could be possible issues and praying that the Lord would help us to take care of those. Part of that is communicating with your parents early. Remember that you're working with them, not their children. You might have their children in a Sunday school class, or they might be in your preschool, but really you're working with the parents. You're trying to encourage them and help them as they're raising their children. The preschool isn't about running a nursery for the services. That's a big part of it, and that is part of it, but it's about helping families as they're setting the precedence for their children, as they're beginning to raise their children, and as they're starting out with their young families. It's about helping them to have the Lord at the center. It's about helping them teach their children where the Lord really should be in their life, and helping them at a young age when their hearts are impressionable and tender to get those important Bible values that will help them 10, 20 years from now be the teenagers, be the adults that they need to be. Our pastor always says, talking about issues, our pastor always says that carnal people make small issues bigger, and spiritual people make big issues smaller. He said that several times in the past few months. I'm sure several of you have heard that. And that's true. And especially in the nursery, I think it gets a reputation for gossip in the nursery and the preschool. And you can just help so much by keeping that down and redirecting conversation and keeping your own spirit right and making sure that you are not you're not yourself promoting that. I would say next, fifth, I would say protect the spirit in the nursery, in the nursery and in the preschool. Even on Sundays, when you're not in the service, it's still the Lord's Day, and you want that same spirit to be throughout your preschool. You want your teachers to have that spirit. You want, and it's not about the kids being quiet all the time. That's not going to happen. It's not about everything being nice and calm, which is great. I love that. I love that. That's the way I always want it. But it's not always going to be that way. This is about having the right spirit in your workers. It's about having the meek, humble spirit that the Lord would have if he were right there, and he is with you, but if he were physically standing in front of these people talking to them, it's about having the same spirit that he would have. And you want to work very hard to protect that. Part of that means that you're not going to take care of problems on Sundays. If you have a parent that's upset, you're not going to take care of it right there if you don't have to. You're going to schedule a time, either Monday, Tuesday, sometime during the week that's not on the Lord's Day, to take care of that, because you're trying to protect the Lord's Day. You're trying to protect that spirit in the nursery. I think sixth, in the preschool and in any ministry, it's very important to show appreciation for your workers. There are lots of ways to do this. Cards on their birthday. We do some small things at Christmas. We try to do some things around holidays when we're able. I think a big thing is just simply to say thank you. And Jody's really great about this. She's really great about making sure that she thanks, every worker who's in there, every service. Thank you for helping us. Thank you for working. They need to hear that. Another huge way that you could show appreciation to them is making sure they have the help that they need. It's hard. It gets crazy down there, and it's hard. But as best as you can, you should make sure that they have the help that they need in there. I think seventh, I would say, and I'm trying to get through these kind of quickly, it's important that you just have a good attitude. Sometimes you get tired. We all have long days. We're all busy about something. And sometimes we're tired. And you don't want your weariness to affect your attitude toward your preschoolers, toward your parents, toward your teachers. You need to ask the Lord to help you to smile even on the hard days. And parents, when they come through, should know, 1, that you're on their side, 2, that you're happy to be there, and 3, that you love their children. And that's really what we're asking and praying that the Lord will help us do. And finally, I would just say, don't waste your opportunity. The Lord has given us a great opportunity to work first of all, with preschoolers who have very tender, sweet hearts. And secondly, with their families, who lots of times are young and who are just starting out and who are like my husband and I, who don't really have all the answers or have any answers, or who feel like we know what we're doing at all. And you really have a chance to encourage them and to help them as they're trying to get some things in place in their families, like I said before. We really, like I said, we have a great opportunity. Let's not waste it. The preschool really does make a difference, and it can really change a lot of things. I've told several people this lately, but my oldest son, Carson, is 3.5. And he has always had a hard time with storms. He's always really scared of them. And that's not, that's typical. Well, in their preschool choir, they've been singing this song, with Jesus in the vessel, I can smile at the storm. Well, that has changed everything for him. Like, literally, he sits in front of the window and smiles when it's storming, like, literally. And, I know that's silly, but that has changed his life. And it will be that way forever. He'll always remember that. And I'm sorry. I prayed at the beginning of the year that the Lord would help this year be full of compassion, and I cry at the drop of a hat. All of a sudden, I cry at the drop of a hat. So you'll have to forgive me. Now, I'm going to just kind of go into our preschool ministry and kind of what we do, where it starts, where it goes to, what we try to do in each age, each step of the way. And I'll try to get through this quickly, so if you have any questions, that will let you ask. We'll try to make some time for that. Our ministry, the preschool ministry, really starts when we learn that a mother is expecting a baby. When a woman is expecting a baby. If it's their first baby, we try to make sure that they have a shower, a baby shower at the church. That doesn't always happen. We've had several babies born in the last few years, and they've all had their showers, but they haven't always been at the church. But we do try to at least make sure that they have a baby shower in which their friends from the church are invited. This is something we're beginning to implement right now. We're trying to get a gift that we can give them when we learn that they are expecting. Part of that will be Pastor's book, What Every Mother Must Teach Her Children. This is just a really sweet book with lots of great resources. It's little, it's small, it's an easy read, and it's really great. It's a huge encouragement. And then we have a gift mug, and some other things to go with that. We do try to make sure that we keep up with them. We make sure we know when the baby is due. We try to keep up with their doctor's appointments. Is everything going okay? Are there issues? We have one young mother right now who has an awful time. She just gets really, really sick for months on end, like can't get out of bed sick. So, we try to help. Do they need meals? Do they need childcare? What do they need? You want to know what their needs are. You want to be working to build that relationship if you haven't already gotten to do that as early as possible. We do try to make sure that we go see them when they're in the hospital. We bring a basket that looks kind of like this. The next baby due in our church is a boy, so that's our basket for him and his mom. We try to make sure that we take that, Jody and I both usually take that to the hospital. And then once they get home, we try to work with their Sunday school teachers to arrange meals, so they have at least 3 meals after they get home to help them, and that's a huge blessing. I know it was a huge blessing to us. Our preschool ministry continues as our little one makes his or her way through our preschool. We start with our newborns. You've gotten the list of procedures and do's and don'ts and things like that. When they get to our newborn class, we try to make sure that either on the first Sunday that they're there or earlier, if that is possible, we try to make sure that our the room leader for our newborn nursery is able to kind of show them around, and they show them where our nursing mother's room is. They show them where what they do in the preschool or in the newborn room, or whatever happens there. We try to make sure that they know that. We have cards that we try to get them to fill out. They're called All About Me cards, and we try to have them fill those out either before they're babies in the nursery or on the first Sunday, so that we just know what the best things we can do, what the best things are that we can do to help the moms, to help the babies. We do have for each, I'll tell you this really quickly, we have room leaders for every nursery class and Sunday school teachers for every Sunday school class. And really what they do is they schedule the workers for every service, their Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday evening service. They help us schedule those workers. They help us to find new workers. We're always looking. And they just really help to keep up with the families in their class. We ask them to contact them every week in some way, whether that's a postcard or a phone call, a Facebook message. We just ask them to keep up with their class on a weekly basis. These are tags that we use on the diaper bags, so we actually order those. And if any of you need that, there is a phone number and a website on that, so it'll be right here if you want to look at that after. We also use, for our special meetings, in these classes we have our safe care cards that are on the doors that we have parents fill out, and then they need to bring that back to pick up their children. That helps us just to give an extra level of security. And then once they get, it moves on up. Once they get into our toddler room, which starts at 19 months, they actually get their first Sunday school lesson in there. We use regular Baptist Press curriculum at this time, and they love it. They learn songs. My boys were singing This Little Light of Mine and the B-I-B-L-E, at a year and a half. They knew all of that, and it was an encouragement. And they can learn so much, even when they're that young. And then once they get to be 3 years old, they get to be part of our preschool choir, which meets on Wednesdays. They sang on Sunday night. I'm sure probably most of you heard them. And that, like I said earlier, is a great encouragement to them too. We have some special things that we're trying to get going this year. We want to do a workers' picnic. We're hoping to do that at the beginning of June, hopefully. We have our VBS that we do that starts in K4, and all kinds of things that we do. We have our Little Lambs class, and for special needs children, and that has been a great ministry. The Lord really put that as a burden on Mrs. Pettit's heart, and she was able to help us get that started. And we have our special needs class, our special needs children. They're in there until they're 12 years old, and then they go to the shepherd's class. But that's a great blessing too.